Title: First responders offer advice after Hunter Valley bus crash tragedy. Emergency and healthcare workers require support following the Hunter Valley wedding tragedy, according to first responders, Ray Walkden and Ray Jones. They were present at two of the most deadly road crashes in Australia in 1989. Walkden, a state emergency service volunteer with over 35 years of experience, said that those affected by the tragedy should talk about it with their loved ones. Jones, a Grafton doctor, added that communities should rally around those affected by the crash to help them through the emotional trauma. The incident claimed 10 lives, with 7 from Singleton, where the Vicar General of the Catholic Diocese of Maitland Newcastle, Reverend Greg Barker, gave support. Former Darwin councillor faces court on domestic violence charges. Former Darwin City Councillor and prominent artist, Paul Arnold, has been remanded in custody, facing multiple domestic violence-related charges. The charges include damage to property, aggravated assault, unlawful stalking, and contravention of a domestic violence order. Arnold, who resigned from his role as councillor in May, appeared in Darwin local court and was denied bail. The prosecutor described Arnold's alleged behavior as violent and ongoing, posing a risk for psychological and physical harm to the alleged victim. The judge ordered an electronic monitoring device and supervision assessment before making the bail decision on June 19. Title: $1.7 billion meth bust in Australia, 6 charged over failed import of drugs hidden in canola oil bottles. Australian Federal Police, along with Canadian authorities and other agencies, have seized 6 tons of liquid and crystal methamphetamine worth about $1.7 billion. The drugs were hidden in shipments of canola oil bottles destined for Melbourne from Canada. Police said they hoped the sting will put a dent in the country's illegal substance trade. Australian drug users collectively fork out billions each year on methamphetamines, according to government data. The 6 men involved in the drug operation have been charged, 2 of them with transporting the drugs. The group is set to face court in Melbourne, and police expect to make further arrests. Survivor who was sexually abused in state care receives apology from South Australia's Premier. South Australia's Premier, Peter Malinauskas, has issued a formal apology to survivors of child sexual abuse in state care, including Key Meekins, who was taken interstate and sexually abused in the 1960s. During an address to Parliament, the Premier paid personal tribute to Mr. Meekins's experience. Mr. Meekins said that this was actual official and final closure for him and validated stories he spent decades trying to prove. His story inspired other survivors to speak out, leading to some of the most substantial child protection reforms in the state's history. Instant Brands, maker of the Instant Pot and Pyrex, files for bankruptcy as sales go cold. Instant Brands, the maker of popular kitchenware products such as Pyrex and Instant Pot, has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in the United States. The company was struggling with rising inflation and interest rates, which impacted its liquidity levels, forcing the company to seek bankruptcy protection. The company has liabilities of as much as $1 billion. The sales of Instant Pot devices have dropped significantly, from $758 million in 2020 to $344 million last year. Instant Brands is owned by private equity firm Cornell Capital and has received $132.5 million in new debtor-in-possession financing from its existing lenders. Code Yellow declared for Royal Darwin, Palmerston Hospitals for 3rd time this year. The Northern Territory Health Department has announced a Code Yellow for the Royal Darwin and Palmerston Hospitals for the 3rd time in 2023 due to a peak in hospital demand following a steady increase of patient admissions. Surge management plans have been put in place, but elective surgeries have not been deferred at this time. Code Yellow declarations allow hospitals to implement measures aimed at easing pressure on the hospital system. The Royal Darwin and Palmerston Hospitals have already experienced 2 Code Yellow declarations so far this year, in March and May. U.S. military granted unimpeded access to key Papua New Guinea defense facilities in new security agreement. The United States military has been given unimpeded access to key PNG defense facilities, including the joint PNG-Australia-Lombram Naval Base on Manus Island, as part of a sweeping defense cooperation agreement. The 15-year agreement has generated criticism domestically, with concerns raised about the constitutional hurdles it could raise. The agreement grants unimpeded access for mutually agreed activities to facilities including the Lombram Naval Base, the Port Moresby Seaport, as well as airports in Port Moresby, Lae, and Momote. Another contentious section of the agreement gives U.S. authorities the exclusive right to exercise criminal jurisdiction over U.S. personnel. Title: Queenslanders can now change birth certificate gender without surgery. Trans and gender-diverse Queenslanders can now change the gender on their birth certificates without undergoing sexual reassignment surgery, thanks to newly passed laws. Applicants must supply a supporting statement from someone they've known for 12 months and can also change their name at the same time as the alteration of sex. The laws also allow parents or guardians of children under 16 to apply directly to the registry to change their child's sex, with applications also accepted through the Children's Court. The changes have been called life-changing by advocates and bring Queensland in line with other Australian jurisdictions. South Korea sues rival North Korea for blowing up joint liaison office in 2020. South Korea filed a damage suit worth 44.7 billion won $51 million against North Korea for blowing up a joint liaison office in 2020, causing a revival of tensions between the two countries. The lawsuit was filed with the Seoul Central District Court and aims to beat the statute of limitations that expires on Friday. The event highlighted the growing concerns over North Korea's nuclear weapons and missile programs. Although there is no clear way to force North Korea to pay if it is found liable, Seoul wants to preserve its legal right to compensation.